Hey guys, Slender Magic here, and we're back with more spoilers from Battlebond. This time it's the green edition. So let's start out with a mythic, Bramble Sovereign. Now this card is completely stupidly overpowered and out of control, but it is still a little situational. So it's not like completely nuts, but oh my god, draft this card. So whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield, so any other player, you, and only you, may pay 2 with 1 green. If you do, that creature's controller creates a token that's a copy of the creature. So basically 2 for 1 special if you personally pay 2. So nobody else can activate that ability, just you. So in other words, whenever one of your creatures enters the battlefield, you pay 2 and clone it, and whenever one of your teammates has a creature enter the battlefield, you clone it. They might as well just name this Bramble Win the Freaking Game. It's a bit of a contrast to the next card. Next up, Grothama All-Devouring, another mythic. Other creatures have, when this creature attacks, you may have it fight Grothama All-Devouring. It's a 10-8 for 5, not sure why you would want to do that, but when it leaves the battlefield, each player draws cards equal to the amount of damage dealt to Grothama this turn by sources they controlled. What is with these mythics that benefit your opponents? What the hell were they thinking? I can think of scenarios where like your ally could, they swing with creatures that deal 8 and then they have it fight Grothama. Okay, they probably lose their entire line of creatures because it's a freaking 10-8 and then they get to draw 8 cards. Okay, well, they'll need them because they just destroyed their entire line of creatures. So your ally, your teammate, can wipe out their entire side while wiping out your most powerful creature, and they get some cards out of it and you get nothing. What the hell? And then, okay, somebody swings with a 9-9 on your opponent's side. Cool, they kill this, and then they draw 9 cards. They only lose 1 creature. The 9 cards will probably benefit it, so it's just dumb. This is just stupid. What the hell is the point of this card? I mean, I guess you could swing with your own creature and then have it fight this, but it has to leave the battlefield. I mean, you could flicker it, maybe. I don't know if I've seen a flicker card yet in this set. Like, there's some narrow circumstances where this would be really good, but it's narrow, and you're not playing a constructed deck in this set. I mean, the only benefit, and this is so obvious it almost goes without saying, is that this is a freaking 10-8 for 5. I mean, you swing twice and you might just win. If your opponents can't counter swing with more than 8 total attack, that's it, and if they do, they're probably going to lose their whole line. And the only thing they'll remove is this. It's just, they get 8 cards then. I mean, you're going to get like 1 turn maybe to counter swing, and that's only if your stuff has haste. So I just really don't like this. Next up, we got Generous Patron. Hey, speaking of that, I've got a Patreon account. And it links up to my Patron and other creator-only Discord channel, which is the highest density of memes in the observable universe. And also, I just appreciate the support because my YouTube income is just, 60% lower this month than it was last month. I have no idea why. Thanks, YouTube. But Patreon is pretty steady, so if you want to help out, and there's also some insane reward tiers on there, check it out, link in the description. But as for this cheapo that's just giving out flower petals, when it enters Battlefield Support 2, and whenever you put 1 or more counters on a creature that you don't control, draw a card. I just realized I already covered this in a previous video, so let's move on. Next up, a famous card, huge reprint here, Magus of the Candelabra. Candelabra? What's a Candelabra? That's an old meme, and this is an old card, and that's an old guy. So you pay X and untap X target lands. This almost made it into my tap dance deck because that is crazy. It was just a little bit less efficient than other things I was running. That said, he does cost 1, so I mean, I decided I only really needed Cura's Follower, but damn, this is good. If you have a land that can tap for more than 1 mana, that's basically how you use this. The only problem is it's not an infinite loop because you'd have to find a way to untap him, but that's what my deck did. I don't know how much use he'll really honestly have in Battlebond. I don't think you'll get any use out of him, to be perfectly honest. There are no special lands at all, unless like mythicspoilers.com is wrong. There's like basic lands and then some color fixing duels. That's it. There's no I'm gonna generate 3 mana, whatever. Maybe you could drop an enchantment on it, but good luck getting them out at the same time as this. I mean, this is just a dumb card. This is just we wanted to reprint this, so we did, and it's like $6 or something. But next up, a crazy reprint coming in from BFZ. We've got Plated Crusher. In fact, I think this is even printed in like Eldritch Moon 2 or something. I love this card because it's Trample Hexproof 7/6 for 7. That is just classic green. It's 7, so it's really, really hard to get out, but if you do get it out, it does stand a reasonable chance of single-handedly winning the game. I mean, 6 toughness is 6 toughness, but you might take 2 or 3 other creatures with it if you swing once. That hexproof is nice. There's almost nothing they can do to it. I mean, maybe ambush it in combat with a boost or something, but it's real narrow. So I really like this. If they don't have a lot of creatures left, you could just swing, and just win with just this. So I love it. Next up, Pulse of Murasa, or as I like to call it, Pulse of Merengue. Elves freaking love Merengue. That is an absolute fact. This is kind of a black card in green. I mean, green does this, but it's more of a black thing. So that's always nice because you can like play black without playing black. But you basically just for 3 as an instant return target creature or land card from a graveyard to its owner's hand. And then you gain 6 life, so you can take your opponent's really big, awesome creature that they just, got nuked by a kill spell or whatever, right out of the graveyard, back into their hand, they can cast it again, hopefully. So this is kind of like having 2 copies of your best creature. Now, the whole land part, I don't know, who's going to blow up a land? I mean, that's just stupid. And there's not a land that you can sacrifice to do something, because that would be nice to return to hand. You could just replay it instantly. There's no man lands. I mean, there's nothing that you would normally benefit from with this card, but it is a creature recycler, and 6 life ain't no joke. I mean, that's just a nice little thing on top of it. So I like it. In a draft, I'd pull it. Next up, Beast Within. Really cool artwork there. Kind of creepy. This is either a reprint or it's a very similar card to another one I've seen. I think it's a reprint. It's a 3-cost instant, destroy target permanent, just outright, which is very weird in green, but its controller creates a 3/3 green beast creature token. So you target your 1/1, boom, upgrade. You target their 5/5, boom, downgrade. Pretty simple, really. I mean, I'd run it. Next up, we've got the SJW wizard herself, Ley Weaver. And you probably thought, oh, well, it's like a weaver from whatever Ley means. No, she's some hipster SJW new age douche. I'm sure her name is literally Ley Weaver. So she partners with Ley Weaver, God knows what that card does, and you can tap her and untap 2 target lands. So a little mana ramp, but in a weird roundabout way. 2/2 for 4. It's a little late for mana ramp. I think the card's garbage, and I think the art's garbage. I think all the SJWs that work at Wizards are garbage, so big surprise there. Next up, Fertilid. This card's pretty cool because it's like ongoing mana ramp. The problem is, if you need mana, you don't want to pay 2 mana. So if you do practically nothing but this for a couple turns, you're in trouble. But basically, it enters battlefield with 2 1/1 counters on it, and you pay 2, remove a 1/1 counter from Fertilid. Target player searches their library for a basic land card, puts it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffles their library. So of course, you can target your teammate. And there are, of course, other ways to get counters on this, but I don't know. A creature that shrinks, it costs 3, so do you really need more land at 3? What's the probability that this is on the field at the same time that your teammate is mana screwed? It's just very situational and not a very good card. Next up, coming in all the way over from Discord, Hunied Wumpus. This is a stupid version of Show and Tell, and I hate it already. It's a 6/6 for 4, which is overpowered considering what it does, and when it enters the battlefield, each other player, so keep that little phrasing in mind, may put a creature card from their hand onto the battlefield. So your teammate, cool, but then both of your opponents. This is stupid. This is stupid and suicidal, and the only time this is good is if you've seen their hand or if there's nothing in it. Getting 2 extra attack and 2 extra toughness compared to what a vanilla 4/4 for 4 would be is not worth everybody else in the game stomping you in the nuts, okay? This card is idiotic. That said, if you know that your teammate has some, 10/10 or something, okay, I guess, but you're really risking it. And once again, I've said this before, but it's a running theme in this set. What are the odds that that exact scenario will actually happen, that those circumstances will align and actually occur? Next up, Feral Hydra, which is clearly not a Hydra. That's not even a reptile, but anyway, it's 1 green and X, enters the battlefield with X/1/1 counters on it, classic Hydra. And then any player in the game may pay 3 and put a 1/1 counter on Feral Hydra. Okay, you don't have to tap it and it's not sorcery speed, so at the end step, you could do it or your opponent, your teammate could do it, your opponent probably won't do it. This is a really good card. I mean, I am shocked that this is an uncommon. This is a fantastic card, very powerful, very perfect for 2-headed giant. Next up, Decorated Champion, 2/2 for 2, and when another warrior enters the battlefield under your team's control, put a 1/1 counter on Decorated Champion. I may have already spoiled this one, but it kind of speaks for itself. Yeah, it's good if you're running warriors. Yay, next. Next up, Canopy Spider, so it's a 1/3 for 2 and with reach, so in other words, it's a spider. I don't like things with reach that don't have like 6 toughness or like 6 attack, because what's the point? Or death touch, I guess. Oh good, you can stop a large flyer. Once. Next up, I hate this card, Elvish Visionary. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card, it's a 1/1 for 2. Well, from a mathematical standpoint, it ramps you 1/3 of one land, so there's that. Because you have a 1 in 3 shot of pulling a land when it comes in, so it's kind of mana ramp, kind of not. It does replace itself, but it's a freaking 1/1. I mean, like, it's not really like a cantrip creature. I just don't like it. I really don't think I'd put this in a deck. I mean, having one more creature on the battlefield is not nothing, but you had to waste 2 mana on this. So, I mean, you probably also lost your turn if you only had like 4 mana and then what you draw needs 3 and everything else in your hand needs 3. So it's only really a good card if you're playing all elves. Next up, Daggerback Basilisk. I love basilisks. They killed my party members so many times in Exile 3 Ruined World, but I love them. Mostly because I used Trap Soul on one of the most powerful ones on this hidden island, and then I could summon him whenever I wanted for way the hell too much mana. Well, if you ignore the absolute atrocity that was the basilisk in Harry Potter that had nothing to do with basilisks and wasn't even what they look like, you'd know that their gaze can turn people to stone. So naturally, this is a 2/2 Death Toucher for 3. I mean, it's kind of nice. Like, you could stop a 7/7 with it. It's not going to win you games. It doesn't do that much damage. You would very rarely swing with it, but still, I mean, it's still a Death Toucher. So, you know, it is what it is. Next up, Kraul Prowler. It's a 6/6 for 6. Straight up. Absolute boat anchor in your starting hand, and if you get there, cool, but nothing special. I mean, Plated Crusher is so much better than this. But then again, 7 is a hell of a lot higher than 6. So I don't know, not much to say about that. Kraul Warrior, it is a 2/2 for 2, and you can pay 6 and it gets +3/+3. Yeah, you might get to 6. I mean, it's okay early game and it's really good late game, so yeah, it's all right. Next up, Primal Hunt Piece. This looks cool. It's a 3/3 hexproof for 4. I don't know, is it even worth protecting if it's a 3/3? I don't know. I just don't think this is very good. Like, oh, it's harder to remove it. Who would even try? It's only a 3/3. They would just remove it in combat. Next up, Lead by Example. What are Gideon and Nissa doing here? Pretty sure this is a reprint, but yeah, support 2 for 2 is an instant. I mean, that's just good. I mean, you just take creatures and make them bigger. And a very, very common strategy that most games in sealed and limited devolve to is, oh, my creatures are bigger, I win. It's just, oh, your biggest is a 5/5, I have a 6/6, I'm swinging. You know, just, that's basically it. So yeah, support 2, why not? If you got 2 creatures on the battlefield, let's do it. Oh, and obviously you can put counters on any creature, whether you control them or not. So, you know, you can put it on your allies' creatures. So your probability of finding 2 targets is very, very high with this card. So very, very good, valuable card. Next up, classic card, Return to Earth. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. It's weirdly specific while also being weirdly wide. It's at least not sorcery, and it costs 4, which is outrageous, but I would just leave it in my sideboard, and if I was drafting, I probably wouldn't grab it. I mean, it just is what it is. Next up, Combo Attack. Why are some of these leaked in such low res? I don't know. So for 3 is a sorcery, so no ambush here. 2 target creatures your team controls each deal damage equal to their power to 1 single target creature. So that's a 3-cost removal spell in green. Yeah, I would draft this. Next up, Jungle Wayfinder. It enters the battlefield, and then each player may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it in their hand, then shuffle their library. Pretty sure I already spoiled this card, but I don't know. This card sucks. It's garbage. It benefits your opponents just as much as it benefits you. There is no point to this whatsoever other than making the round go faster, I guess. So I guess that's polite. Cards like this are stupid. Anything that benefits your opponents equally as you, don't play it. It's a waste of a card. And beyond that, it's a 3/3 for 3. Oh boy. I would only play it if you're already playing heavy warriors and you had all these warrior ETB and swing triggers and stuff. Otherwise, no. Next up, reprint, Saddleback Lagak, or Lagak or something, I don't know. When it enters battlefield, support 2, and it's a 3/1. It can't target itself, though. That's why I never did like support. Bolster was so much better. So, I mean, 3 damage for 4 is kind of already crap. 1 toughness is beyond crap, and you make 2 things bigger, which is probably actually worthwhile. So, I don't know. It wouldn't be my first choice, but it's all right, I guess. Next up, Wandering Wolf. Now, this is huge in a support-heavy deck. Huge, because it's a 2/1 for 2, and creatures with power less than Wandering Wolf's power can't block it. So it is offset on its toughness by 1, which is rough, because it could still, you know, basically trade with something. But if you get this thing up to, like, 5/4, it's quite possible that nothing can block it. If you got it up to, like, 7 or 8 power, like, nothing is going to block it. So I mean, with enough counters, you could just win the game with this. I mean, and you could use a temporary boost on this maybe. There's a couple like Sure Strike clones in red. And there might even be some equipment, didn't really look at it yet. So this card's just good. Like, do not overlook this card. And plus early game, I mean, they can't chump it with a 1/1. So I mean, it's just good at all times of the game if you have the deck to support it. Next up, Skyshroud Claim. We've got an elf claiming that part of the forest in the name of knee-high boots, I guess. It's a sorcery that costs 4, search your library for up to 2 forests, specifically, not any other type of basic land. Put them onto the battlefield, does not say tapped, then shuffle your library. So you can use them right away, so you basically get a 2 discount on this, but you got to pay 4 up front. Who's like, oh, I really need to ramp mana when I already have 4? Plus they have to be forests, but I mean, it's not bad. Like, it really will just pound the gas pedal in the middle of the game. So it's not terrible, but it's not great. And that is the last of the green cards. I am actually feeling like there's less green cards than any other color because that video went really fast. Either that or the cards were just really boring, which I kind of feel like is true. But I will say they were very straightforward. It's just, oh, what you see is what you get. There's no, oh, what about this and combo and that? No, it's just this card does this. It's a big creature. It does this. It's hexproof. Blah, simple. So if you're not the most experienced adept Magic player, maybe target green for your deck. Well, I've still got laundry going, so watch for the rest of the colors very shortly, and I'll see you guys next video.